At 364 days in as champion, CM Punk walks into Survivor Series 2012 with not only Ryback to get past, but John Cena as well. It's not a good situation, but three individuals dressed in black appear. Because of the chaos they cause, CM Punk survives the night with the WWE Championship in hand. A celebration of Punk's lengthy title reign is crashed on Raw when Ryback shows up. He's blindsided by the three men from last night and goes through the announce table. Punk is spared again. These three call themselves The Shield: Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. They deny working for the WWE Champion. They seek justice, and CM Punk was a victim of injustice. It's that simple, or so they claim. Their words obviously don't come across as authentic, as later in the night they once again assist Punk in dealing with Ryback. Stepping outside of the storyline for a second, CM Punk says The Shield was his idea. Creative wanted Punk in a heel stable with Daniel Bryan and The Big Show. Punk thought elevating three up-and-comers would be better. He handpicked Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Cassius Ohno for the part. Management preferred Roman Reigns over Cassius, and there you have it, The Shield. Although in 2015, Roman would dispute CM Punk's side of the story, saying the only thing Punk made was his Pepsi tattoo. Roman walked that comment back a little bit on Chris Jericho's podcast, saying he guesses it was Punk's idea to have security. For whatever reason, Roman appeared to have animosity toward Punk. Is it because of Punk revealing that management kept hounding him to make Roman look strong? In any case, there appears to be some heat. Back to the story. While hooked up to a polygraph, The Miz asks Punk point blank if he's in cahoots with the Shield. Before he can answer, the Hounds of Justice appear and shut Miz TV down. A fight involving Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Ryback ensues. The big guy puts the champion through a table, getting a small amount of retribution for everything. Supported by crutches from Ryback's attack, CM Punk says he had to undergo emergency surgery and will not be able to defend the WWE title against Ryback at tables, ladders, and chairs. Instead, at the pay-per-view, Ryback and Team Hell No wrestle The Shield, a match The Shield wins, by the way, when Roman Reigns pins Daniel Bryan. The champion tries to impress upon management that his personal doctor will not clear him to defend the championship against Ryback. Vince McMahon says if WWE doctors clear Punk for competition, he will defend that belt. If he doesn't, Paul Heyman will be forced to take Punk's place as an opponent for the big guy. The champion is cleared. He defends his title in a TLC match, since fans missed out on that at the last pay-per-view. To the surprise of no one, the Shield gets involved. Ryback gets wasted. CM Punk walks away victorious. However, with the Royal Rumble fast approaching, CM Punk will be facing an Attitude Era great in The Rock. Leading up to that match, the Shield targets the Great One and overwhelms him. Mr. McMahon makes it clear, despite Punk denying any affiliation with that group, if they get involved at the Royal Rumble, Punk will be stripped of the championship. When they have that match, the lights go out. The Rock is taken out. It's clearly the work of the Shield, even if there's no definitive eyewitness account. The Rock is rolled into the ring and pinned. Vince McMahon's familiar with a champion's game. He knows exactly what just transpired. Instead of being stripped of the title, CM Punk once again defends the WWE Championship, with the match being restarted. With a people's elbow, Punk's reign ends on day 434. Damning evidence of Paul Heyman working with the Shield is shown, confirming everyone's suspicion. It's at this point the straight-edge superstar and the Hounds of Justice go their separate ways. CM Punk explained on the Art of Wrestling podcast that the original plan was for the Shield to continue working with him up until the WrestleMania 29 match against The Undertaker. After that, they'd begin feuding, giving Punk a hot storyline instead of being dead in the water without anything important to do. Plans change, pal. However, the feud still ends up happening. Better late than never. The Shield continues terrorizing the rest of the roster. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan begin a feud with the Wyatt family. These worlds collide when Bryan and Punk face the Shield in a handicap match. Punk has the match won, with Dean Ambrose ready to submit to the Anaconda Vice. The Wyatts appear before Dean taps out. Instead of going straight toward Bryan and Punk, the Wyatts and the Shield clash. It doesn't take long for the two factions to put their bickering aside and unite in surrounding Punk and Bryan. Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and the Usos make the save, getting the better of both groups. This leads to a massive tag match next week. There's palpable tension between the Wyatt family and the Shield. This manifests into something later on, but as for this 12-man main event, CM Punk's GTS affords him a pinfall over Dean Ambrose. Bryan and Punk continue their feud with the Wyatts, but issues between the straight edge superstar and the Shield heat up. Bryan and Punk face the Wyatts in a handicap match. Things get out of the referee's control and the match is thrown out. This is when the Shield makes a statement. Punk is beaten down and left battered after receiving a triple powerbomb. The Rhodes brothers defend their tag team championship against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Cody gives Seth the crossroads. Ambrose pounces and causes a disqualification. With a steel chair in hand, CM Punk attempts getting payback for the 3-on-1 beatdown on Raw. Vicky Guerrero turns this into a 6-man tag, and well, the Wyatts get involved and that doesn't work out. The Usos and Rey Mysterio show up, so Vicky tries this one more time. The Shield and the Wyatts versus CM Punk, the Rhodes brothers, the Usos, and Rey Mysterio. After a go-to-sleep, Rowan is pinned by Punk. A very bland, emotionless Punk promo is cut accusing the Authority of sicking the Shield on him. You can tell he's checked out at this point, he's done. Anyway, Stephanie McMahon and Director of Operations Kane gaslight Punk, essentially chalking his accusations up to paranoia. Corporate Kane's business mumbo-jumbo makes me think he'd fare well in politics. Nah, that's crazy talk. The Shield comes out to intimidate CM Punk after he challenges Kane to a fight. The Director of Operations says Punk alone will wrestle all 3 Shield members at tables, ladders, and chairs. CM Punk faces Dean Ambrose one-on-one. The straight-edge superstar struggles with injured ribs, selling Roman's spear to him from Raw 2 weeks ago. With an armbar locked in, Michael Cole says Punk should just give up and preserve his health for TLC. He endures and wins with a GTS. The two have a rematch. Once again, the injured ribs are a problem. Dean Ambrose lost by himself last time. This time, Seth and Roman remain ringside, but Ambrose instructs them to leave. He can do this alone, but he doesn't. Punk beats Ambrose again. Roman gives an already compromised man another spear. Punk admits he's going to get slaughtered by the Shield, but he asks which members he's taking down in the process. At TLC, Punk holds his own against Ambrose and Seth, but when the powerhouse is tagged in, things go south. However, he misses a spear and almost takes himself out, injuring his eye. That vulnerability gives Punk a target, forcing Reigns to tag out and get checked on. And when Roman re-enters the fight, it's not so good for Ambrose. The straight-edge superstar gets away with doing the impossible. This continues the following night. CM Punk and the Usos versus the Shield, 6-man tag action. Before Ambrose is pinned by another GTS, a spear puts Punk down. Things look a little brighter on SmackDown. John Cena and Daniel Bryan as tag partners, what could go wrong? Well, okay, that could. With Bryan down for the count, it's Punk and Cena in a handicap match. Hey, when you have Super Cena on your side, who else do you need? Well, Cena's not so super tonight as he's isolated and dominated. It's CM Punk who gets the hot tag and nearly wins for his team. The Shield mobs Punk, causing a disqualification. Cena suffers a triple powerbomb and Punk is battered. Big E performs a dominant rescue which sends the Shield scurrying off. Naturally, this leads to Cena, Punk, and Big E versus the Shield. Roman continues to be the biggest obstacle of the Shield for Punk to overcome. This ends in another disqualification, but after a stereo AA and GTS, Punk gets to stand tall. To end 2013, CM Punk and Seth Rollins wrestle. He didn't want Dean Ambrose since Punk has already bested him. In fact, he and the audience picked Roman, but not yet. Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice, but Dean's interference saves his stable member. But when countering the GTS, it's Ambrose who accidentally saves Punk. The GTS is finally hit, and it's good night. So far, the Shield can't defeat Punk in singles matches. We enter 2014 with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins versus the Usos. The Shield tries to stay united despite some of CM Punk's mind games trying to divide the group. This match, of course, ends in a disqualification. To spare the Usos falling to the numbers game, Punk appears to even up the score. This turns into the Shield versus CM Punk and the Usos for the main event. Hot-headed Dean Ambrose ignores Roman's pleas for him to tag out. Roman nearly inadvertently spears Dean while trying to save him. He super kick to the outside while Punk finishes things up. Roman's fed up with this. A man whose mind games might even exceed Punk's, Roddy Piper, says maybe Seth and Dean can't beat Punk, but asks if Roman can. And if Roman can, doesn't that make him better than the other two? The old man's cruising for a bruising, but the New Age Outlaws and CM Punk make the save for the veteran. We finally get Roman and Punk one-on-one. To watch Punk's back, the New Age Outlaws accompany him. Roman's power game has Punk disadvantaged. The ailing ribs of Punk are a crystal clear bullseye. With one good kick, Reigns becomes pixelated, giving his opponent a window to inflict damage. After a flying elbow, the GTS is at hand. But Punk gets involved with outside brawling. This gives Roman time to recover and land a Superman punch for a near fall. Reigns misses one spear, but a slight distraction ensures he hits the next one. It's over. Everyone brawls afterward, and Jake the Snake shows up. He puts his snake in Ambrose's face. I'm not being weird, that's what he does. More six-man tags ahead. First on SmackDown, tagging with the New Age Outlaws to face the Shield. It's another win for the Shield, with Roman pinning Billy Gunn. We get the same exact match on Raw. CM Punk becomes isolated, desperately needing to tag out, but Road Dogg and Billy Gunn leave him hanging. Following that, a Roman Reigns spear ends the match. The Shield puts an exclamation point on Punk's burial with a triple power bomb. Demanding answers, Punk calls out the New Age Outlaws and the Shield, knowing full well how this might end for him. Director of Operations Kane calls off the attack dogs before chokeslamming Punk for some disparaging comments. With that, the feud with the Shield comes to an end. Not with a bang, but a whimper. Going forward, CM Punk begins his feud with the Authority, a feud that ends before it even gets off the ground. Punk wrestles his last WWE match at the Royal Rumble. After that, enough's enough. Wrestling sick and hurt, tired of backstage politics, Punk leaves his WWE career behind. Even though he would have gone on to wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania and walk away victorious, it's just not something that he was interested in. We wouldn't see him return as an active professional wrestler again until 2021 in AEW, far, far away from Vince McMahon and Triple H, and nowhere close to ever finishing his story with the Shield, unless you want to count wrestling Jon Moxley. Through an extraordinary series of events, however, something many people in the wrestling world thought would never happen, happened. CM Punk returned to the WWE, a WWE where Seth Rollins is the World Heavyweight Champion and Roman Reigns is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. There's a lot of history that can be used in these stories. Okay, sure, it was never explicitly stated Punk brought the Shield together, only that Paul Heyman was paying them to protect Punk. That doesn't matter. Wrestling storylines are at their best when real life bleeds into kayfabe, and that can be used. Although I'm very excited to see what happens going forward regarding CM Punk and the former Shield members, there are two big ifs. If all parties are willing to play ball and do business. It looks like Seth Rollins is. We'll see about Roman. The second if, and this is major, if CM Punk's 45-year-old body is up to the task. If Punk stays healthy, then yeah, let's go. Only time will tell how this all goes. Hopefully someone out there enjoyed the video, and if you weren't familiar with Punk's history with the Shield, maybe this video helped clue you in.